So we're nearly at the end of the PS4's life. There is one more big exclusive coming to it, and after that we can wrap things up and get prepared for the PlayStation 5's release in the holiday season later this year. I've honestly loved this console generation, and I feel like it's only fair to take a look back at this generation to remind ourselves of what we're moving on from. This is the first generation I've had a console for almost its entire lifespan, so the PS4 is pretty special to me. The PS4 launched all the way back in November 2013 for $399 or £349. As of March 2020, the PS4 has sold a massive 108 million systems worldwide, and I count for 3 of those sales. But I'll get into different models in a little bit. For now I'm going to talk about the PS4's launch. The PS4's launch lineup of games was honestly pretty weak. The main first party games were Killzone Shadowfall and Knack. Killzone Shadowfall is fine, like it definitely looked impressive at launch, but it was kind of in competition with Call of Duty Ghosts and Battlefield 4, which were also there at launch. And yeah, we all know Knack certainly exists. In fact, Knack exists so much they made a sequel to it, which existed just about as much. I feel like the 3 third-party launch offerings worth giving a bit of attention are Assassin's Creed 4, which I haven't played, but I've heard it's a pretty solid Assassin's Creed game, and it's also where Ubisoft found their profound love for boats in Assassin's Creed games. Then you've got Call of Duty Ghosts, and it's a COD game that people just love to hate on, but it genuinely has a pretty fun campaign. And back in 2013, I was playing the multiplayer just as much as I play any other Call of Duty. I go through the same thing every year, where I play unhealthy amounts of the new COD for like 2 months, and despite people having nothing but complaints about this one, I definitely played a huge amount of it. I also played a huge amount of Battlefield 4. It's the last Battlefield I ever properly got into, but the graphics of this game still look really great on PS4. I think the reason the PS4's launch took off the way it did was because Microsoft really messed up their messaging when it came to the Xbox One. The Xbox One was showed off to the public saying it always had to be connected to the internet. It needed Kinect to work. It looked like a VCR and couldn't play used games. Sony then showed off their cheaper console and made a video called How to Share Games on PS4, and it was literally someone handing off a copy of Killzone Shadowfall to another person. I really think this was like Sony's mic drop moment. They appeared to be doing everything right when Microsoft couldn't. I think the funniest moment that Microsoft fully shot themselves in the foot was when Don Matrick said, "Fortunately, we've got a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity, and it's called Xbox 360. That's a line he still can't let down 7 years later, and it certainly edged things towards Sony's favour. After a successful launch that was practically handed to Sony, the PS4 stayed consistent with one thing throughout the last 7 years, and that is amazing games. Literally the best games I have ever played in my entire life. My personal favourite is, without a shadow of a doubt, infamous Second Son. It's one of the first PS4 exclusives I played, and since then I've probably beat it about 5 times. I honestly don't know why it is my favourite PS4 exclusives, because I do know there are others which are much better. I may as well name my top 3 favourite exclusives of this generation now that I've told you what my number 1 favourite is. Number 2 is definitely Days Gone. I do have a video on the channel where I do a spoiler-free Days Gone review, and I talk about why I love it so much, so please check it out once you're done with this video. But even though Days Gone is way longer than it needs to be, I fell in love with the story and the characters and everything else, so it was worth completing. My third favourite PS4 exclusive has to be Spider-Man PS4. It was brilliant to see Sony using their Spider-Man license, and the game is nothing short of fantastic. Nothing feels overdone or dragged out, and swinging around New York as Spider-Man is so fun. It's literally most of what I use for background video whenever I'm talking about something that doesn't need specific gameplay on the channel, because I just love capturing footage of it. There have been 3, technically 4 visual changes to the PS4. You have the original sharp, sleek looking model with the glossy panel on the left covering the replaceable hard drive, and it's got really nice right angle corners. I am a massive fan of this design. It's iconic and I love it. They then quietly changed the glossy panel on the left to the same matte plastic that's on the rest of the console, and that's why I say there's technically 4 hardware models, because this is still the original fat PS4, but it looks a little bit different. This one was quieter and ran a little cooler. After a while, like they have with every PlayStation, it was time for a console redesign. The PlayStation 4 Slim came out. It's smaller as you'd expect and ditches the weird touch buttons on the front that would always mess up on the old PS4s. This system is yet again quieter and runs cooler. It's got a more curved design and generally looks pretty nice. I prefer the original PS4 model, but I did upgrade to the Slim in 2017 because I just wanted something different, and my friend was able to sell me one with a 2TB hard drive in it, so it was a pretty nice upgrade. And plus I had a black base PS4 and this was white, so it was just a nice change. The final PS4 model is the PS4 Pro, the one I currently have. It's bigger and kind of looks like they took a PS4 Slim and added one more layer to it. I'm also a big fan of this design because I'm not sure if it's down to the fact that it's bigger, but to me it just screams power. Like, you know, this is bigger and bulkier and going to run your games better. And that's exactly what the PS4 Pro does. It runs your games better. Any game that's not patched to take advantage of the PS4 Pro's really nice 4K visual abilities can run in a boosted mode, basically meaning you'll get a nicer, more stable frame rate. The games that do take advantage of the PS4 Pro's power look insane. God of War, Spider-Man, The Last of Us Part 2 all look so clean on PS4 Pro, and it may be a little less powerful than the Xbox One X, but the PS4 exclusives look stunning on the Pro. The PS4 Pro was also a pretty interesting first for gaming, a mid-generation significant system upgrade, but not a next-generation system, and it was very certainly a really welcome upgrade. I'm very happy with the fact I jumped ship from PS4 Slim to PS4 Pro. Something that came along with PS4 which was kind of interesting, it changed a 16-year-old design whenever it came out, was the DualShock 4, a completely redesigned controller for Sony's latest system. The PS4 controller feels a little more comfortable in my hands compared to the PS3 controller, and I'm not just saying that. They were on my desk whenever I was writing the script, and I picked both of them up and pressed all the buttons, and the PS4 controller still felt nicer. And it also seems to be a little more well put together. It feels heavier and more solid. The main thing it has going for it is the big touchpad in the middle of it. It was a cool gimmick at the start, but very rarely is used in games because it's just something extra developers don't really want to be developing for. It essentially turned into a big select button. It's also got a light bar on the back which does a pretty neat job of making the battery life poor, and up until a controller revision a few years after launch you couldn't even see its colour. One more noticeable change to the DualShock 4 was the share button. Basically building in a capture card to your PS4 and hitting this button brings up a menu where you have the option to save the last 15 minutes of gameplay or take a screenshot. It depends on what way you have it configured, but for me, if I double tap it I can start recording a video, and if I long press it it'll take a screenshot. I really love the share button and I hope they continue that feature with the PS5 because it's how I get all my PS4 footage and it's really useful. But I mentioned the light bar on the back of the DualShock 4. What can see the colour of the light bar, even if you can't, is the PS4 camera. A fairly useless peripheral that I believe was there at launch, but it did eventually find a use, and that was with VR. Another first for a console generation and a really smart move by Sony was a virtual reality headset developed specifically for an existing console. No super expensive PC required, and the most affordable true VR experience on the market that isn't kind of weak like you'd find on your phone. I love the PSVR so much. I think it does so much right, and it's genuinely impressive how well it works considering the technology it uses to track the headset and the controllers. The controllers you use in each hand when playing PSVR are the PlayStation Move controllers that were used in the PS3 era to sort of come up with a motion control solution when the Wii was at peak popularity. These controllers are tracked by the PlayStation camera using the glowing balls on the end of them. The PSVR headset itself is also tracked using lights placed around the headset. It's so impressive how well this works given the age of the technology. Like, the PS Move controllers must have came out around 2010, so it's amazing that in 2020 we're using it for VR tracking. If you're not sure if you want to jump into VR but want to, give PSVR a shot. It's well worth every penny, and you've got brilliant games like Job Simulator and Superhot VR. Also, if you're worried about getting one now with PS5 just around the corner, it's going to be compatible. Sony have said that, so you'll be able to play all your PS4, PSVR games on your PSVR on your PS5. That is a mouthful. Some more PS4 titles that I have loved throughout the years are Horizon Zero Dawn, Resident Evil 2 and Fallout 4. The first one, Horizon Zero Dawn, is a brilliant exclusive which I'll definitely be doing a video on sometime in the near future. And the other two are just brilliant third-party games. I don't really cover third-party games all too much, but if I end up covering some, these two will definitely be first. Although Fallout 4 is such a big game, I'm already getting a headache thinking about how I would cover that. But that was it for a little retrospective on the PS4's generation. Thank you very much for watching this video. Because PS5 is just around the corner, I felt the need to do this to pay a bit of respect to the console that's been sitting in our living rooms, offices and bedrooms for nearly 7 years. There were amazing games this generation, and it was certainly a brilliant console lifecycle for Sony after the PlayStation 3's somewhat rocky life. Maybe I'll take a look back at the PS3 generation in a future video, but I'll see how well this one does first. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. My channel is about all things PlayStation, so if you like this video, you'll more than likely enjoy the other videos I've put out and will continue to put out. If you want to keep up with what is going on in the channel, you can follow me on Twitter at AnthonyJGaming, and apart from that, I have nothing else to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.